I'm going to just X out of this because I posted both places. There we go. Yay!
Great. Well, thank you everybody for coming to Author Chat. Today we have Jacqueline. Is it Garlick?
Yes, it is.
Woohoo! Put one through for my tired, injured brain today. Nothing like doing one of these shows. Good. She is the author of, it's Lumière, right? I'm getting that too? Yeah. All right. Woohoo. 2 for 2 today. Yes.
Yeah.
This is not the copy you will win. Just so you know.
The copy you will win.
She has the copy that you will win. Oh.
Yeah, it's very similar. It's almost exactly the same.
And Jacqueline has been gracious enough that since she hasn't sent me the winning copy yet for this giveaway, the winner not only will get a signed copy, you will get a signed personalized copy. So,
and a little bit of bling too. I have
and some swag.
Yeah, I had this some swag. Some of the I was sharing them online. The excerpts. I make little postcards out of those if people saw them online. So they'll get a few of those. And then I just got this. I'm like rattling, so I'm opening it up. But this is so cute. Is this not the cutest little thing? It is a teacup ring.
That's adorable.
Isn't that adorable? So yeah, I'll put one of those in there too because I just got them and I think they're so cute.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
All right. So
such a big role in the book. Yeah.
So before we start, what is that picture behind you? Because that is just gorgeous.
That one right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a beautiful painting by a lady who now lives in Toronto. And she's a Russian immigrant to our country. And she was actually a Russian refugee. She escaped a very bad situation in Belarus. And she used to make paintings for the backdrop for movies, and she sewed the costumes for big, beautiful theater and movies when she lived there, and she was kind of a national treasure there. And so now she paints for joy, and yeah, her and I made friends, and I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see.
No, it's like cutting off her head.
Yeah. But anyway, I make sculptures that are kind of like these ladies in beautiful dresses too. Usually I have one laying around, but I don't right now. So they're kind of like on the same wavelength as her paintings. And so I went up to her and brought her a sculpture and showed her, and you know, broken English and broken Russian. She was like, "Oh, we are comrades," because you know, and we made friends. And then she literally started giving me paintings. So I bought 1 or 2, and then I actually, because they're so beautiful, friends bought them from, like, they were like, "Where'd you get that painting?" And they bought one. Every time I sold one for her, she'd give me one. So I have about 9.
I'll take one.
I know. No, she's it was lovely of her. I don't think she got the concept though that I was trying to help her make sales, and she was so grateful that she would just like give me another one every time I left. So
that is gorgeous.
Yeah, I have. She's a bit naked, so that's why I'm not gonna like.
Oh. Yeah, probably don't want to show that on the show. All right. Oh. So we'll start out. Tell us about your book and who you are.
Well, I'm Jacqueline Garlick, and I'm the author of the Illumination Paradox Series, which is, the first book is Lumière, and the second book is Reach, Noir. And the third book, you know, will be coming out. There is 3 books, and it will be called Soleil, which is French for sun. And so the book is about a young girl who has, you know, a very dark secret. She has to keep this secret, or the people in her town will most definitely have her put away in an asylum or possibly killed. So it's a very serious situation. She has a condition in which they don't understand the condition. So they just think that she's got some, you know, wrong with her, and that she back in the 1890s, they didn't tolerate that kind of thing, and they would just do away with you or put you in an asylum. So she's on the run, searching for her father's machine. She's orphaned now, and her father made the machine to look inside her brain to see what was going on there and try and help her and try and make her better. But he died before he could do that. So she's on the run searching for that machine. and she plans to use it to help herself, but she ends up, you know, just about finding it and discovering that this strange young man is stealing it. So she has to go into the deepest, darkest part of her world in order to try to retrieve it. So that's pretty much. It's an adventure. It's a love story. It's steampunk. It's fantasy. I blended all kinds of things. It's lots of fun.
All right. Do the titles have any significance?
Yes. Well, the first title is Lumière. I don't want to give too much away, but in the book, she comes across a file that was her father's that's labeled Lumière. Lumière is French for light. And back in the early days of the creation of X-rays, they called the X-ray light a ray or just the light. And so she kind of like figures out from that possibly this is a file that her father, you know, code named for her to find. And so she makes off with that file. And then noir is conversely another file she finds. And of course, noir means, is French for, it's actually French for black, but it can also mean dark or darkness, loosely. There's another word for darkness, but it wasn't as pretty and it didn't fit on the cover as well.
And then you said the last one is French for sun.
Soleil. Yeah, Soleil, and it's French for sun. And if you read the book at all, you realize, you know that she lives in a world of twilight. Oh, there goes my dog. She lives in a world of twilight where there is no sun. The sun has been knocked out. So we'll leave it there, and you can kind of like guess what the significance might be of book 3.
All right. So you went from being a self-published author into being picked up by Skyscape. How did that make you feel when, I mean, did they email you? Did they call you up? Or how exactly did that happen?
That was really kind of neat. I had an agent for a number of years, and he wasn't able to sell my work. And this particular series I really loved, and I'd spent a lot of time on the world building and the characters, and I just really loved it. And I wasn't willing to just give up on it. And so we had a conversation, and he said, well, you know, why don't you self-pub and see where it goes? And so I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do that. So I did. And then roll forward a year, and the editor got a hold of the editor who eventually bought the series, actually contacted my old agent because she didn't know that we had parted ways. And he sent me a lovely note and said, hey, guess what? This girl's interested. You might want to connect with her. So yeah, I reached out to her, and then she was like, oh, I'm so glad you did. And yeah, we ended up making a 2-book deal. So that was pretty crazy. It was a great day.
All right. Let's see. So how did you get interested in writing this particular genre?
I think I'd heard about it from a couple of friends, and I was really fascinated with it. I am a huge, huge fan of like Tim Burton movies, which kind of like lean toward that. And I love, one of my favorite movies is Johnny Depp's Sleepy Hollow, with all the gadgets and the dark world and, you know, all that kind of fantasy stuff with the Headless Horseman. And when people were talking about that genre was really popular and coming in, I was like, wow, that's cool. I would love to do something like that. And I got the idea about the X-ray machine, and, you know, so usually steampunk takes place in an alternate Victorian or Edwardian world. So I was like excited to do that. I love Victorian era. I love that stuff. I've loved it since I was very young. And I also have British heritage. My father was, his family was from Britain. So that's kind of like all threads running through. And then my dad actually also owned a tool and die shop. So I grew up around like gears and wheels and presses and grinders and the smell of machinery. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can totally do this. I can remember stuff from the shop, and I can figure out things and make new gadgets, and this will be great. So I went into it. Yeah, it was fun. I loved making the inventions. It was so much fun doing that.
What is a typical work day like for you?
Okay. Well, let's see. I get up pretty early. I get up around, my husband gets up before me. He's the early riser, but he gets up about 7:30. I've been trying to get up with him. And, you know, I'm usually at my desk and working by 8. And I do emails and things first. I look at things. I know I shouldn't do that, but I do. For about an hour, but I only let myself do that for an hour. And then I write. And I write until like about 2:30. And then I'm kind of burned out. I usually typically do 1,000, 1,500 words a day of fresh stuff, or, you know, rewriting, revision. I do about 25 pages. Then I stop, and I usually try to have something to eat. And then I market in the afternoon. I do my marketing. And I like to read in the evening, or I'll start another project. I usually have 2 projects on the go. So in the morning, I'll do the fresh project that needs new writing. And the evening, I'll do the project that's rewriting. Like right now, I'm finishing the If Only series, the 5th and final book. And so I'm sitting out on my lounger in the nice weather in the evening when it's cooler, and I'm writing about Kyle in Denver and finishing up that book. So, yeah.
I'm not sure why all these people keep popping in here. That is so weird. All right. I've seen a lot of people comment about your cover, that it does not look like a self-published book, which just makes it so much better. How hard was it to come up with the cover?
That was really a real labor of love. I was super lucky. I actually tried to do a cover with another company, and it didn't work out. So then I was like at the 11th hour, I had to advertise for the book to be out and everything, and I was really, really concerned. And a good friend of mine, a writer, I said, oh, I'm just going to get a stock photo and do what I can. And she was like, no, I want you to do your vision. So she totally, called a friend, and he was a photographer, a professional photographer, and he agreed to do the shoot. And then I got a hold of a writer friend of mine, and her daughter was lovely and willingly decided to be the model. And I ordered the dress from Etsy and sewed a little bit of extra stuff on it, and the necklace also from Etsy. And we put it all together, and we went and did the shoot on our own. And I was determined to make this book not look any different than any other book you might have from Simon & Schuster or any other place. So I'm glad that people like it, because that was my goal. I wanted it to be seamless. Nobody would know on the shelf that it was self-pub. Oh, and I should mention that my son is an animator, and when it was his very first project, actually, to add the effects of glow and stuff on the front cover. So I was excited about that. Now he's a big-time animator. Doesn't have time for mom.
All right. What is the hardest part of writing for you?
I would say the second pass. I love just kind of like just downloading the story onto the page. I love that part. And I always think it's great. And then I go through it the second time and I think, oh, this is horrifying. Like, why did I ever think this was good? Like, what is wrong with this writing? Oh my goodness, look what I put down. And so I think I really beat myself up in that pass. And then once I get through that and kind of straighten things out, the third and fourth passes that I do are so much more fun, because they're like adding layers and adding more depth to the character and more, richness to their discussions and their language. And I love that part. But that second pass, I just about throw a lot of projects away.
What has been your favorite book of 2015?
2015. Okay, so I have a couple. Jandy Nelson's, I'm going to say the title wrong. Give me the sun, or give us the sun. Give me the sun. Give us the sun. Oh my goodness. Sorry, Jandy. This is just not coming to my brain right now. Anyway, her beautiful book that she won the prize for, the Prince Prize for, that is like a phenomenal book. It's just so beautiful, so beautifully written, so tenderly constructed, so respectfully created around the subject matter. I just can't say enough about that beautiful YA book. And then one that I really, really enjoyed for adult book was Sarah Gryn, and it's At the Water's Edge. And it's just this great book about this couple that are very, very rich, and they go over during wartime to England in World War II, and they're in search of the Loch Ness Monster just to prove a point. And during their stay in this terrible bombed out area of Scotland, they realize that, you know, the world is really in crisis and they're really spoiled, and they get a real taste of life. And it's just a great book. Again, really beautifully written, fabulous. I just loved it. Great adventure. I mean, it's the Loch Ness Monster, right?
At the beginning of book 2 of what I've gotten to read, it has the one girl that, for life of me, I cannot remember what her name is, being somewhat saved by the sky opening up and her getting this glimpse of light. Are we going to get any extra scenes of, I forgot what the place is called.
With Flossie and Lampidius? You mean Flossie? The one
Flossie, yes. When she gets saved in the beginning of book 2 before my copy completely died, she gets saved by the light opening up. And that, of course, was also in book 1 with the map. Will we ever get to actually see more of that particular world?
I don't want to give too much away, but I will say that most definitely it is tucked away in Isla's mind now, and it was always just a dream, right, in book 1, and a thought that her father had. And now that I think she's caught a glimpse of something, and of course, Isla was kind of out of it when she saw it. So, you know, when she realizes, you know, that that's truly a possibility, it's definitely going to be a new quest point for Isla.
And what is that place called again? Because I could not remember for the life of me.
Lampidius.
Lampidius, that was right. Okay. All right. How long did it take you to write Lumière?
Lumière took me about 2 years. I was working with an agent, like I said, and I was really trying to make it an epic read, a really big story. It started out a lot smaller, and I worked with a story coach named Lauren Oberweger, and she was like, "Oh, there's so much more here. You're just scraping the, you know, surface. Let's go. Let's make it bigger." And so I spent more time, and I made it bigger. I'm glad that I did. And you know, but I really took a lot of time, and you don't have that luxury with book 2 and 3. Once it's out there, readers want to keep reading, so it's kind of nice to have that time in the first book to, you know, just enjoy the luxury of being in your house and writing with your characters. And then once you release that first book, boy, then it's like, ooh, where's book 2? So yeah, I wish I had that 2 years again.
Great. This is not a question, but it says that I read your book as a self-pub, and I really loved how you reinvented the X-ray machines into a post-apocalyptic world.
That's great. I'm glad they did. That's awesome.
I really liked that too. That was really awesome. In the beginning of book 1, before the Great Illumination, the world is just normal, everyday world like we have here, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Are we going to see any novellas with this series?
Yeah, I do have a couple planned. I didn't have the opportunity. I think I advertised one in the first book, and I thought it was going to have all this luxurious time to be writing. And I think that, you know, you get, like I said, you put book 1 out and things change. And then, like I said as well, I got picked up by Skyscape. But I do want to, one of them I have planned is called The Epitome of Islet. and it's going to be the pre-story of before book 1. So like not when she's a child, but just before she meets Smirt on the steps of the school. It's going to give us a living backstory of why Smirt and her have clashed, what she knows about him, and why, you know, they're butting heads at the beginning of book 1. And the second one is going to be about Ehrlich, and it's the undertaking of Ehrlich, and it's going to be his backstory of when he arrived at the house with his father when he was returned, and their brief encounter and moments together, and his you know, encounter meeting Iris and his new family. So those are the ones planned. I also have another little one planned, just the creation of the paradox. And I did a lot of research, and I have a lot of cool things from that I wanted to share, and about X-rays and about, you know, the way things used to be with X-rays. And I'm going to put those all into a book, kind of like a little factual book of things that I used, and maybe include some of my author's notes and some of my early scribblings in that book. So I'm hoping I can pull that off.
Will we ever find out where all the creepy critters are actually coming from?
Yeah, I think in book 3 you will delve further into their world. Let's put it that way.
When naming your characters, how did you come up with everybody's name?
Oh, well, for Eyelet, it just kind of came to me when I was, this is kind of crazy, but I woke up with the idea in my head, and that happens sometimes. I kind of like come out of a dream state, and I have like books rolling in my head, like a little movie, and she was there, and that was the first thing that came to me was her name. And her father explained, her father explaining the name of like why she's Eyelet. And essentially she's Eyelet because the whole idea behind her name is that a piece of eyelet lace is absolutely beautiful, and it's only beautiful because of the holes in it. If it didn't have holes, it would just be a piece of cloth. And so she is beautiful because of her holes or her misfortunes. And then Ehrlich, actually, the name came from, I was searching up old names that would have been authentic at that time frame. And I came across a graveyard, like a notice about everybody who's buried in this particular graveyard in England somewhere, in a small village. And this name was this, you know, I noticed this name Ehrlich a few times. And then I did some research, and somewhere I found that it was sort of a throwaway name because it means death. And so if a lot of children died in childbirth back then, if they didn't want to name the child officially, they would use this name. And yeah, and Smirt as well came from a registry of a, you know, graveyard. And so the graveyard, it said all these names, and it said next to this guy's name, his name was Smirt, and of course I noticed it because it had no vowels. I was like, my goodness, this is weird. And then next to it was a little note that said that he was the last living one, and that this family name would not carry on in that region. Oh, well, I need to resurrect that. So I brought him back.
That is so cool. Well, I know that you need to go to get to your other chat, and it's coming up on 6:30. So our last question disappeared on me. Okay, I have no idea where it went. My window just closed. Okay, so what book are you reading right now?
What book am I reading right now? I read two things at once. I'm reading The Casket Girls by Elise Arden, which I'm loving, which is really cool, and I downloaded that. And I am also reading, I have to think, is it Snow by Ashes? I'm terrible, aren't I? I can't remember the name of it, but I think it's Snow by Ashes. But anyway, it's a really great adventure as well.
Snow Like Ashes?
No, Like Ashes. Sorry.
She's been on the show before. She was on the show for that a while back ago.
It is captivating. It is really, I just love it. It's pretty great. So I'm not that far into it, but I'm really hooked. I'm really hooked, though I can't remember the title of anything today. That's terrible.
Today's been really bad. We're all brain dead. That's all there is to it.
I think it's the weather. I'm gonna blame the weather.
It's something. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. When book 2 comes out and book 3, I hope you decide to come back. And
I would love to. Actually, book 2 is out today.
It is. Oh.
We're doing book 1 right now, so I'll come back and talk about book 2. We'll give people time to read it, and that'll be more interesting, right?
There you go. And if you want to pop your link into the next show that you're doing, so if people want to get more of you, they can go over there and view that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Happy to do so. And thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome. Thanks so much. I've really enjoyed it.
No problem. And you can just click the little phone thingy and hang on.
Alrighty.
Right. Thank you. And that was Jacqueline Garlick. And again, this is not the copy that you will get. This copy is actually already spoken for, but the winner will get a personalized signed copy. So it is definitely something to look forward to. And of course, the little swag. So woohoo. You can actually join us on the 22nd at, I don't remember what time it was. Today's been insane. Ooh, and that's really making my head hurt. All right, let's go back over here, and then I can tell you what time it's on. 2. August 22nd, which is actually in 3 days? 4 days. At 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have Kimberly Carlis. I probably pronounced her name really wrong. For Love, Fortunes, and Other Disasters from Swoon Reads. This book is adorable. If you like contemporary with a hint of paranormal, that is so adorable. When you get done with it, you will see unicorns. Then this is the book for you. She will be on, and this is actually the book that you will win. Unfortunately, it is not signed, just so you guys know, but it is up for grabs. And then again, on the 31st of August, we will have author Susan Kim, one half of the duo who wrote Wasteland, Wanderers, and Guardians. She will be with us August 31st at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys tune in then. And thank you. Bye.